beautiful, how are you doing today? Today we'll be making this yummy very delicious egusi soup. So without further talking, let's just get into what you need. You need two large bell peppers and 3 small onions. Well, this just works for the size of egusi I'm cooking, which you'll see later. And some tomatoes. You need just 2 small ones. You can use fresh tomatoes or from the tin like I used, because you don't need a lot of tomatoes. I went ahead to put it in a chopper just to retain the texture. And I've got dried fish, some stock fish already cooked, some mixed meats already cooked, some crayfish, palm oil, scotch bonnet pepper that's already been blended and frozen. So for the size of egusi we are cooking today, I decided to go ahead and measure it. So it worked out to be 2 cups and just a tad bit. So I would really approximate it to be 2 full cups of egusi. The mistake I did was I was supposed to put this on a scale to know what the gram is, but you can if you have a cup measurement. So this is just for 2 cups of egusi. And I have uziza. You can see how my adusa or uziza looks. It's just what we get here, so you make do with what you have. And some young spinach. So first off, you want to just heat up your oil and then put in your chopped pepper mix. I actually didn't use all of it. I think I had just a very little left, but really it's really now a case of preference, because I didn't want the soup looking too stewy. If you want it too stewy, yeah, you can go ahead and use all. And just fry that for maybe about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, really on high heat. And then I went ahead to add some chopped onions just to the flavor. And then it's time to add egusi. So for this, if you want your egusi to come out curdled, like I have, you want to mix the egusi into a thick paste. The thing is, the thicker the consistency of the paste, the more scrambled or curdled the resulting egusi would look like. If you don't like curdled egusi and you like it more pasty and runny, just make your mix a bit runny. So scoop that into the pot, cover the pot, and just leave it to simmer on low heat for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And then you just go ahead and mix that up, break up any big curdles. As you can see, I have some big chunks of scrambled egusi. So what I did was basically just break them to desired size. Like I said, this part is really a case of preference. If you like chunky scrambled pieces, just break some and leave some. If not, scramble the whole thing up. To that, I'm adding dry fish, stock fish. Mix. Really, at this point, the soup is basically done. When once that egusi cooks out and scrambles, the soup is done. All you're basically doing is adding on all the accessories to the soup. So I've got my mixed meat added on, and to that I'm going to be adding the water, which you see the cup measurement I used was 500 ml. So round about, you can see I didn't fill the cup to the brim. But if I want to approximate the total liquid in the soup, it should be about a liter. If you add on the stock, the meat stock and the stockfish stock. The meat was in the fridge, so it had some stock on, even though it was looking a bit coagulated in the beginning, but there was some stock in the meat. So altogether about a liter of water is what you need. But like I said, it's really a case of preference. So if you put in a liter of water and you think, oh, I want it a bit more runny, yeah, you can add a bit more. Or if you don't want it too runny, you can reduce the water. But bear in mind, egusi is a thickener, so as it cooks, it absorbs more water and it thickens out the soup more. So you know, you just want to watch and see while you're cooking how it gets on. And so what I'm basically doing is just mixing everything together, and even at this stage I still had some pieces of scrambled egusi that I thought was too big, so just break up as you want. And then I am mixing my cubes. I have in there chicken cube, nut cube, and onga cube, and some crayfish. And during my cooking I realized I still had some fresh red peppers, fresh scotch bonnet in the fridge, so I blended that and added that on. And then I added that flavor which you saw earlier. It's called obeata, but I don't it has this marjoram leaves in it. I just love the edge it brings to egusi soup. It says pepper soup spice, but this particular spice is so nice because it doesn't really have a lot of ginger or anything, so you have more of the marjoram spice on there. And I just added very little of the spice. So to the soup, at this stage the soup is basically ready. I added on the spinach leaf. As you can see, I didn't have to chop the spinach because spinach, this is young spinach and it wilts very fast, and if you chop them up you would not even see the pieces. You end up having like streaks of spinach. So I wanted to be able to see the pieces of vegetables in the soup, so I just yanked it up with my hands. Yeah, so you just want to mix that up and taste to see if you need to add salt, peppers, or whatever. I didn't add salt to this cooking because there was some salt in the stockfish already and loads of salt in the meat stock, so for me it's just preference. So you taste to see if you think you need any extra salt to add. If not, yeah, just leave it. Yeah, so just keep mixing. And what it was for me, I went ahead to add the leftover spinach. I just had some little left, and by the time I mixed up I thought there's no point, that you can see just what was left, basically a few leaves. And then I've added my adusa chopped as well, adusa or uziza. Yeah, so that's a super yummy egusi soup ready. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Please try out this recipe and share this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Do have a beautiful day. Bye.